Good evening, intuitives and survivors of narcissistic abuse. I hope you've been enjoying my latest videos. I'm really trying to work through that backlog of, how many videos that I didn't do in 2 months while I was working too much and preoccupied with something else that was messed up from day one. But I neglected the channel and I had a lot of ideas for videos during that time that I didn't get around to, and now I'm trying to get caught up. So, thank you all you new subscribers. Had a lot in the past couple days, a lot for me, and I appreciate that, and welcome to the Motley crew. So, I hope the information is, providing good advice, perhaps good advice to try to tell others in a situation, have i- i- little advice. If you're watching these videos and you know what narcissism is and narcissistic abuse, borderline, histrionic, all that, and you're worried about somebody else in a situation like that and they don't know what the hell it is, maybe they're from a fucked up background and they think it's normal because, that was me 10 years ago. Um, Show them the videos instead of you trying to tell them because they might think you have an ulterior motive, and maybe you do. Maybe you genuinely care, but you also have an ulterior motive. Yeah, been there too. Yeah, sorry. 7, 8-year-old memories coming back. But show them the videos, not just because I want the views. I do, and the subscribers. I do. But then that way they're hearing it from me, somebody they don't know, as opposed to you, someone who might have an agenda. Just a word to the wise. So, welcome new subscribers. Please check out my older videos. I know the stupid, actually it's still right here. When I used this, I didn't know how this was going to work out or how long I'd stick to it, and it's what I had laying around at the time. So, what I want to talk about now, since I did an INFJ and a witchcraft video already today, going to narcissism, obviously, because I've been talking about narcissism already in this video. How the borderline is a master manipulator. Now, all narcissists are, but in different ways. And I'll just do all narcissists are master manipulators, but we're gonna focus on borderlines in this one. So there's different types of manipulation the borderline or the narcissist will use. Some are more obvious than others. Now, there's, of course, the most easily spotted one. The borderlines do this all the time. The covert narcs, not so much. And that is the narcissistic injury, the narcissistic blow up, the freak out, the meltdown, where they throw a tantrum. And a lot of times, and my borderline mother's notorious for this, if they don't get their way, if somebody's not bending to their will and sticking to their free will, instead of doing whatever the borderline wants, the borderline will have a meltdown. And when they do that, they'll histrionics will come out about, oh, you don't know what this is doing to me, and I need you, and I don't know what I'd do without you, and I have nothing, and you're my whole world, and basically the guilt trip. And, Italians and Jews by genetics are the best at that. And I say that as someone who's half Italian, and my best friend growing up was Jewish. We've talked about this our whole lives. It's been a long standing debate, which mothers are more overbearing, Italian moms or Jewish moms. Take your vote. So, if one's one and the other one's right behind them, it's definitely a very, very close race. But you get the meltdown, the blow up, and that what that tries to do is guilt the target and or scare the target into giving the borderline their way, because the target, feels at that point in their life that they can't get the borderline out of their life. And if they go against the will of the borderline, the meltdowns become more numerous and worse. I've seen some pretty batshit stuff that people put up with and do not like being confronted over. Sorry, it's a loud noise from upstairs. I didn't know what it was. So, again, where I left off, there's some people who have, who are in these situations, and you try to confront them about it, about like, obvious stuff, not gaslighting, covert stuff that can't be seen. We're talking like meltdowns, the stuff everybody can see, the stuff that there's no denying that, it's not going on. Everybody can see a meltdown. Everybody knows what a meltdown is. And that's what the borderline does. Unlike the covert narc, the borderline, you know what they are like that. They can't hide what they are. They're aggressive. They're in your face. They feel they have the right to exert their will over you. They feel like they can say, do, act in any way, that the rules don't apply to them and everybody must bow to their will, because everybody essentially is a pawn to them and exists only to serve their narcissistic supply. So it's like, today I'm using you as a crutch, and if tomorrow you talk to somebody that I don't want you talking to, I'm going to melt down on you, and you are just to take it and not say anything, and whatever you do, don't dare call me out. Just, you all exist to serve my will. That's a pretty typical borderline manipulation. So you have that type of manipulation. And I'm going to, histrionic, same thing. You know what the meltdowns are. Everybody knows what the meltdowns are. You have the more covert stuff, gaslighting, obviously talking behind people's back, twisting stories, twisting logic, trying to make someone look, in the worst light possible. And some think they're very cunning when they do this, and they do get away with it. But there's also times where it's like, you just said how great that person was like 3 days ago, and now you say they're the devil. It's like, they did something that you don't like. Not necessarily something bad, something evil, just something that the narcissist didn't approve of, and therefore you go against the will of the narcissist. You must be destroyed. No free will. Free will bad. Well, especially in Chester County. Free will bad, change bad, status quo good, good old boys club good. Yeah. But that's kind of unique to hear. At least I hope it is, because I want out. I don't want to end up somewhere where it's also like that. Word of advice: move to areas where there's more transplant people than locals, i.e. more people that live there are people that grew up elsewhere than people that grew up there. Cuts down on good old boy shit. It's still there, but it's not as bad. Yeah, you, Arlington, you. I'm talking about you again, because I always talk about you. Yeah. You've watched my other videos, you know what I'm referencing with Arlington at the fire department. But the covert stuff, gaslighting can be hard to detect. If somebody's gaslighting you behind your back, you may not know. You have to look for the signs of gaslighting manipulation. Like, are people out of nowhere looking at you differently, treating you differently, even though that you've been acting in the same consistent way you've been the whole time? It must be that something that somebody approved of you doing, they are now disproved of, because the narcissist changed their mind. And when the narcissist changes their mind, everybody must change their mind with the narcissist, because they are the kings and queens. Yeah, kind of like that. Well, I said I changed my mind. I don't want you to do that, so you can't do it. What do you mean? No, no. Why? Because I said so. What are you doing that? I'm like, the fuck's it to you? I don't approve. I don't care. Well, I'm not going to let you do this. Try and stop me. Something like that's pretty typical. So you get those situations. And don't forget about the flying monkeys. So, flying monkey manipulation. The narcissist is going to turn other people against you. They're going to go to like seemingly neutral people, maybe even people that had a favorable opinion of you, and do whatever they can to turn them against you, because it's like, that person we said was great, well, they did this, and I don't want them to do this, so now they're Lucifer, bloody morning star, and everybody must hate them. You must, treat them like the devil until they bend to my will, because my will is rule of law, because I said so. Narcissists. Yeah. Stuff like that. So they'll turn people that you maybe even trust and confide into against you. And they love doing that because, at least in the beginning, you won't know that the flying monkeys, if they weren't flying monkeys before, had turned on you, and you'll confide in them once you start to notice, like, something's not right. So why do I feel like Caesar and there's daggers drawn, kind of thing. And you'll tell the flying monkeys things that you thought you could trust to tell them when you don't, and it gets back to the narcissist. That's what the narcissist loves. The narcissist, especially when they're manipulating, and they're always manipulating, loves to be like the nucleus and have all the flying monkeys and enablers circling around them, and the information all goes to the center. They love being the one who holds all the information, the one who knows everything, because a lot of them are chess masters. Watch my chess master narcissist video. Everybody's a piece of the puzzle, a pawn on the board, and they're all to be moved at the will of the narcissist to reach their end game and no one else's. So yeah, you have that. And then you have the enabler manipulation. And the enablers, you think they're the same as flying monkeys? Now, there's a subtle difference. Well, there's some difference. The enablers are the ones that when you start venting about, like, this is fucked up, this narcissist is trying to control my life, this narcissist is taking away my free will, this narcissist thinks they own people, this narcissist thinks they can tell everybody what to do, who to speak to, where to go, whatever, who to get involved with romantically, where to work, stuff like that. The enabler will defend the narcissist. So even if the narcissist is doing like batshit stuff, like he could even be meltdowns, that the enabler will be like, well, it's different because they're them and the rules are different, and I'm just enabling them to act more crazy and hurt more people, but I think if I do this, then they won't hurt me. It's like the wolf in the herd of sheep that goes, I'll eat you last, kind of thing. That's the enabler. So this is just a brief overview of some of the common types of narcissistic manipulation to look out for. And I kind of tried to keep this one more light. Keep in mind, there are other types. These are the most common. And keep in mind, narcissists are always manipulating. Always, 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 always. You don't always notice it because depending on what manipulation tactic they're using, you may not know that it's going on until you start seeing daggers drawn, like, I'm not paranoid if people are actually out to get me, kind of thing. And yeah, sometimes you can't logic your way out of it. Sometimes, the people around you are too far gone, don't want to know the truth, are afraid. There's all kinds of reasons why, depending on the situation you're in, where you are, the type of environment, that even though it's obvious that this is going on, you can't convince people that it's wrong, because sometimes certain environments are so toxic, so fucked up, that this is so normalized that it just gets swept under the rug and brushed away and act like it's normal. Yeah, you, Chester County, you. I'm talking about you. So, something to be aware of. Learn as much information as you can about narcissism and narcissistic abuse and borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, cluster B personality disorders in general, and their tactics that they use to manipulate people, because they're out there. There's more of them than people think. I did a video on that too. You should watch it. And just be aware, because though narcissism is way better understood than it was 10 years ago, it still hasn't made it to the forefront yet. And especially in American society, it's very much still excused as normal behavior. That's largely due to, the baby boomers. Maybe it'll get better once they're finally gone, if they're ever gone. We all live to be 120. The world was made for me. Yeah. Proud to be a boomer, kind of thing. So hopefully, yeah, can't hex them all. Tried. So I hope that's helpful, informative, and entertaining. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Watch my older videos. Show these videos to those that it may help. Hopefully that it helps you. Please leave comments and questions about any of the content. And remember, trust your intuition. If you think you're dealing with the narc, you're dealing with the narc, and don't sell out your integrity to please a narc.